you don't know where the story's gonna end,
Mm-mm.
and then all of a sudden it ends, and I was left like, what?
Hello, welcome to the Fifth Star. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert, and we are reviewing Michael, which is a biopic about Michael Jackson, obviously. This movie's been really polarizing.
Yeah?
It got on Rotten Tomatoes a 39% from critics,
Right.
but from the audience, it got a 97%.
The fans.
Yeah.
The fans.
So, I mean, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself a big MJ fan?
I like his music a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's how I'll put it. I like his music a lot.
Okay.
He is like a musical genius.
Yeah. I think everyone pretty much agrees with that.
He deserves the legendary title.
King of Pop.
Exactly.
I mean, he is. Let's start with our biggest positive.
Okay, biggest positive was definitely all of the music. I mean, I feel like that's a cop out, but it was really great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the dancing was fantastic. I thought on that way, Jafar did a great job. Just
Okay.
like embodying his uncle.
So he spent 2 years just preparing the dancing part.
Dude, I mean, I kind of believe it because like it's not just something you can pick up. What about you? You're positive.
All right. So my positive was actually the young Michael Jackson actor, Giuliano
great.
Valdi.
He did so good.
He was so good.
I agree.
The whole first part of Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 era, I really felt like I was watching like archival footage or something,
Oh, wow.
you know, of Michael Jackson when he was
Wow.
little. I mean, obviously it wasn't because of the quality, but yeah, I just thought he was-
Obviously, it wasn't.
I mean, you know, it could be archived. There's a lot of archival footage of him when he was young, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, I'll just add like Coleman Domingo, his performance, especially in
Yes.
those earlier parts of the movie, phenomenal. I was so scared of him.
The way I think the movie either completely falls apart or, you know, works purely based on Coleman Domingo's character. Like if he's not truly intimidating enough, or it's done in a way that's really cheesy,
Yeah.
it would just like not work at all. Okay, biggest negative.
I felt like the entire plot was really disjointed. Like there was a lot that did not need to be in it. For me, it made the pacing bad. It made the story arc not super satisfying. It kind of impacted everything for me.
Interesting.
So, yeah, just like the plot itself, I guess.
Hmm.
And maybe it's because this is a part one of eventually part two.
Yeah.
That there was like a ton of stuff that they didn't address in this first movie.
I mean, I thought that it didn't feel disjointed only because it seemed like the whole point was to hit all the highlights.
Yeah.
It's like this song, this performance, this, you know, like just over and over and over.
Yeah.
But the second part of what you said is what was my biggest negative was I didn't know the scope of what the story was. It's not advertised as Michael Jackson Part 1.
No.
This whole thing happened with Wicked, right? But this one, you don't know where the story's going to end. And then all of a sudden it ends. And I was left like, what?
Like that wasn't a complete story.
No.
Almost.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, I kind of get what they did, I guess. But okay,
Yeah.
I need to get a little more into spoilers here. Spoilers ahead. I just thought it was so weird that they kind of arced it on the kind of successful part of his life and it capped it there. And it ended with, and his story continues. So, okay, we know that there's going to be a second part now. So that whole second part is just going to be all the negative stuff now?
I think so. Like, cause
But-
his whole life kind of starts to fall apart really quickly after that.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's really bizarre because this movie was made with the approval of the Jackson family. The Jackson family is very protective of Michael Jackson's legacy.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I understand that.
Yeah.
So even this movie getting made was like a huge feat. But for them to end it on just the good part of his life,
yeah.
to me made it feel like this feels like propaganda. This is a whole bigger conversation about biopics, right? Like
yeah.
they are kind of repetitive at times and generic sometimes and feel like they're its own trope. But like Michael Jackson's story was like that. I love him because of his music, his artistry. I recognize his talent. But there's this whole other side of him that you don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And isn't that
There's
part
like a
of what you want
darkness.
to get from the movie? But like this movie
Yeah.
doesn't just almost completely ignores that it even exists. It gives you like little hints near the end, but like it doesn't materialize at all in this part.
And I felt like the entire time, and maybe it's because like the Jackson family is very protective, but
Mhm.
it just kind of felt like Michael was perfect and innocent the entire time. He
Yeah.
had no flaws. He had nothing, like he was just a victim the whole time. And so
Yes.
it made him like kind of, I mean, for the sake of movie lingo, it made him a weak main character
Mm.
because main characters need to have flaws in order to change and grow and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only growth he really had was like
Yeah.
this is a spoiler, but like he tells his father no, but he does it in a completely indirect way that feels like a cop out. Because
That's
he says,
true.
I'm gonna face him.
Mm-hmm.
He says I'm gonna face him and I'm gonna tell him no. And he didn't do that. So did he change? Like, did he become more brave? Because what he did,
He did in a way
he
that
did it so that his father couldn't
exactly.
fight back. Like, I did notice though, like his dad slowly starts to lose power over the whole course of the movie,
Mm.
and that actually sucks out a lot of tension. So instead of building that power dynamic of like
Mm.
how much control his dad has over him, instead it felt like his dad was slowly losing. Like every scene, like he gets fired in the midpoint
Yep.
or something, and then it's like all of these small victories that he has over his dad, and his dad did become less scary,
Yeah.
less intimidating,
He-
less powerful.
Yeah, he becomes more like irrelevant.
Yeah, that like the triumph at the end didn't really pack a punch because he had already like in my mind he had already won.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And, this whole other part of him, like that they kind of tease a little bit. There's really big event happens where his hair catches on fire, and then he gets introduced to like pain medication, and then he goes through like plastic surgery. I did some more research after, and it turns out like so much of this was driven by his addiction to like opioids. And that addiction most likely started when he had that accident happen.
Wow, that's
And so
terrible.
even the endless plastic surgeries, yeah, he probably had some body dysmorphia and all these kinds of things happening, but that kind of like need to get access to really strong pain medication,
Yeah.
like an easy way was through like repeated like plastic surgery.
Wow.
And so, there's this whole other part of his life that,
I didn't know that.
yeah, and it's like they kind of set it up.
Wow.
And it's like, if you just give me one more act of this movie, like I feel like you could just kind
yeah,
of
because
bring all this together.
The Dark Knight of the Soul was supposed to be him getting his hair burned off.
Yeah.
But really, The Dark Knight of the Soul is him getting introduced to pain meds.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the movie, and then we don't get to see anything else.
No, we don't. And it's like, but he ends with like this victory, but we all know the way the story goes is this is not like the high point of his life, right?
No.
I mean, like there's a big fall to come.
Wow.
And
Well,
I don't
that makes
know.
me have more hope for the second movie, actually.
Yeah, except the fact that like I'm really worried that the family's not gonna even like allow any of this stuff to kind of come to light.
Like
I
all
mean,
the allegations.
yeah, like are they even gonna address that in the movie at all?
I think they kind of have to, because the whole Neverland thing, they were really setting up the Neverland thing.
I know they kept doing that, and then that didn't go anywhere either.
Well, it's gonna. In the second movie, they
I
have to do
hope
the
so.
Neverland Manor or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I just don't have a lot of faith because of like how protective the family's been. Even if they kind of like spin it in a positive light,
Yeah.
it just seems like the way things have been handled with his legacy up till this point is like they just haven't been willing to go there, So I just don't imagine that the second part is going to really deliver all of that stuff. And then what's also kind of disappointing is that this was directed by Anton Fuqua, who like directed really hard-hitting movies like Training Day and like Southpaw and was that Equalizer, and like these are like gritty movies. And like then you have like Michael, which is like this super like glitzy,
Happy.
romanticized, like it really felt like propaganda to me. Like that whole
Yeah.
ending just kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I did like the dancing and the singing. The singing was interesting because I thought the singing was better than the dancing.
Did they blend his voice with Michael's?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was a vocal blend.
Yeah.
Which then made sense because I was like, this just sounds too similar
Yeah.
to MJ's original track.
Right.
Which was really impressive. The dancing, I thought Jafar Jackson did a really good job, like admirable, but I think 2 years is not enough. I mean, MJ is one of the most influential dancers of all time. Like, nobody moves like he did. And so I guess
I have to go back and watch
yeah.
some videos. I feel like he did a really good job of like impersonating him.
Yeah, like it hit all the
like-
moves. It looked like a good
It looked like
impersonation.
him. Like there were moments where I was like, this looks like the real MJ. Well, do
But-
we want to reveal?
Okay, let's reveal. So you thought I would give it a 3.0 out of 5, and I did give it a 3.0 out of 5.
Yay! You're gonna be surprised.
Oh, wow, even lower. Oh, you got your first
I got my first
you
point.
got your first point.
I feel bad, but like when I
Wow,
first came out, I
2.5.
was thinking this is gonna be a 3. But then like as I was taking notes and like really
Oh.
processing everything, I was like, there was just too many negatives for me.
I get
And
that.
I feel bad because I do really like Michael Jackson. All the music beats were so good,
Mm.
but there were so many negatives I had. One of the biggest ones was that I felt like he impersonated MJ well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good impression.
Yeah.
He was like the voice, the movements. I thought he like did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I had was that it became too much of a caricature. He never felt like a real person to me.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that was the script. Maybe it was his acting. But like the impersonation, I think, was too front foot forward
Mm-hmm.
that everything else kind of like fell to the background. And he never felt like somebody I could connect with. I'd connected better with the kid
Yeah.
than the adult.
He was great. I agree with you because, it feels like Timothée Chalamet did Bob Dylan, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he's impersonating him. Like
Mhm.
he's trying to walk like him and, the hair and the voice and the singing. But when you watch him, you kind of just see the character.
Yeah.
And Jafar never kind of gets to that second level. Like
Yeah.
it kind of stays on that surface level impersonation.
Yeah.
I think it was both. I think it was the acting and the script. Like the script really didn't help him because it was so one-sided.
Yeah.
Like you don't see him struggle really. Like it's very simple. Like
And all his relationships were incredibly like one-dimensional, I felt. Like
Mhm.
even with his mom, like how many scenes did we get of them watching something together
yeah.
with popcorn?
Mhm.
But then like nothing is built or motivated or established. Like the only thing I understood about their relationship was that they both enjoyed watching things together. And the same thing happened each time. And I was like, okay, I kind of want more. The one time I felt something between them was in the hospital scene when he tells her it's not your fault.
Mhm.
That was like the one time where I felt like, okay, their relationship is real.
Mm.
Or like their relationship is something I can see better. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I took her as more just being the supportive parent and being like the contrast to the dad.
And then the other issue I had was with his brothers. I felt like his brothers were basically a blob of extras.
Yeah. I mean, I think just all the characters, they just were really underdeveloped. Like,
Mhm.
of course, Michael Jackson, but like you said, the mom, the brothers. I think Coleman Domingo's character playing the dad was the only one that felt the most like fleshed out.
Yeah, his motivation was clear.
Yeah. But even then, it's always riding the line of like, is he just like a caricature villain? But the early years, like he really did seem like motivated by like we grew up in Gary, Indiana, and we're
Yeah.
poor, and he's like has this like vision for his family,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think that really helped at least add more dimension to his like motivations and his actions later down the line. That's kind of the one theme I took away that I found interesting in this movie is like you have all these great, whether that be like athletes or musicians or whatever, and so many of these stories seem like they were heavily influenced by like a parent that was like really hard on the child, like
Yeah.
oftentimes a dad that kind of like pushed them towards greatness. even at the expense of their
We've talked
their
about this
personal
on the
relationship.
pod before. Yeah.
Oh, we have? Yeah. And so this is like another example of that. So it's
Yeah.
like, is he justified? Because like Jackson 5 were legit like a great breakout success. Also, you know, Michael Jackson, like he was phenomenal.
The reason I don't think he's a caricature villain is because I
okay.
did almost feel for him in that scene between him and the mom where he says, basically, I'm the one who like got us here. I'm the reason that all this like happened. And in one sense, that's partly true.
Yeah.
Because if it weren't for him pushing them so hard,
Yeah.
then Jackson 5 wouldn't exist and then
Yeah.
Michael Jackson wouldn't have a solo career. And even though like it's also true that MJ's talent is what really got them over the edge,
Mhm.
I'm sure that still really stung, hearing that like his work pushing them in the beginning didn't matter.
Because he's being taken
For granted.
for granted too. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm not on his side.
Yeah.
To be clear.
After watching the movie and reading up more on the second half of the events of his life, I really think that they should have given us the downfall so that we understand how pivotal like that Pepsi commercial accident was, because like that apparently I didn't track this myself, but apparently that is like to the day the middle of his life.
Wow.
And it splits his life into like the shining side and
Wow.
then like the dark side.
It's
And-
almost like they should have ended it on a low note.
yeah, and the whole thing that you can't get around is like he would never have been on that shoot if it wasn't for his dad. Like his dad and that whole thing with Don King, like that's what really happened. And that's what forced him into that shoot.
It does feel like they should have been hinting more at that, like the darkness
Yeah.
coming.
Man. Well,
What was your
okay.
5-star scene?
My 5-star scene, I would say the scene where he gathers all of the dancers together in the studio, and then he kind of like together collaborates and starts to put together the Beat It. You get to see him work, and you get to see like that's probably exactly what was happening. Like he's just
Yeah,
there
could
with
be.
like these amazing dancers in their own right, and he's just like, why don't we try this and whatever, and then it's just like, dude, we're making magic here.
Although I have heard that the high voice is actually like performative and he didn't actually talk like that when he wasn't on camera. Like that was like a persona he put forward.
Oh, so because in the interviews he has the high voice.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. See,
Yeah, so like I there are interviews of people who knew him personally and were like, yeah, his voice was like this. His voice was actually like this. But then when he was on camera, it was like this.
see, if they put in that little detail,
It would have been so
would have been
interesting.
so much more interesting.
And then I think that scene would have been a little more because he'd be
Because-
like, I'm coming down to your level.
yeah, because part of
Yeah.
what Jafar's thing that made it seem so much like it was just about the impersonation was because he kept that voice the whole time, and it felt so unnatural. You're like, who
Yeah.
talks like this? I know
Yeah.
MJ's voice is like this, but was he really? Did he sound like that all the time?
I mean, according to people who knew him, no. So
I mean, I was at like a 3.5 for most of the movie. It was really the ending that kind of.
I was
brought
at a
it down.
3.5. Well, I'll tell you my 5-star scene.
Oh, okay.
It was
yeah.
the recording studio scene at the very beginning. The producer inside is like, you can see just him reacting to, whoa, this is pure talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then right afterwards, he's like showing him how
Yeah.
and then MJ hugs him in front of the dad. Like all of those pieces,
Yep.
it was just so well done. And I was at a 3.5, like
Mm.
that whole first bit.
And I think that,
And then it just slowly
and I
dropped.
think the vocals for that scene specifically is the
Yeah.
actor's actual singing. You know, you're good at picking these scenes. I agree. I forgot about
actually-
that scene. I think that scene was better. Than
I
the
thought you were
dance
going to
scene.
pick from the beginning as well. So I was wondering.
Yeah, I mean, man, that actor, he was so good.
I kind of want to go rewatch that
I-
scene right now.
I think what we need to do is in like 15 years when that actor grows up, we need to redo the MJ story with
and have
him
him
as
play
the yeah.
Michael.
Let's do that. What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, let us know what you thought of the movie.
Like, subscribe, comment below.
And next week, we're going to review The Devil Wears Prada 2. And so join us as we continue our quest for the 5th star.